All right, welcome back to the Celine. Y'all hear that, right? So today is going to be a bit different of a video. I've done a video in the same spectrum of this. I've done one painting video on here so far, the Bob Ross painting that I did with McKenna. This is going to be a little bit different than that. Basically, I kind of got the idea to do a bit of a series on this channel. I've got a couple of these. I've got the cooking scrambles, which of course right now I only have one. Got the 50 states foods, and there's a couple of series on this channel. This one would basically be recreating famous works of art, famous paintings, except for with a twist. I'm not going to, at this point, reveal what the twist is, but as I get to that part of the painting, I will then slowly reveal what it's going to be. So the painting that I'm going to be doing today is the Scream painting. This is what the painting looks like, and this is the one that I'm going to be recreating. So as I'm kind of painting this, so it's not just me like a quick shot of me painting the whole time. I figured I would do a little bit of a recap of the history of the painting and some of the actual interesting facts that you might not know about the painting. So upon researching, I was like, man, is there gonna be anything interesting about this? Like, I've always liked the painting, but like, I didn't know if there would be any like fun facts about it. And there are actually some pretty interesting things about it. So let me go ahead and get the second camera going, and then I will explain basically what the piece is and how it started, and then get into some of the fun facts. Man, we are getting all the loud noises today, dude. All right. So like I said, don't mind the laundry. Don't mind the little pushed aside pallet on the floor right here. You know, we all have our pillow fort pallet in the floor needs. All of the info that I pulled and am going to be telling you guys about, I pulled from Wikipedia. The first is just a direct quote from it. The Scream is a composition created by Norwegian artist Edvard Munch in 1893. The Norwegian name of the piece is Skrik, and that basically means shriek. And the German title under which it was first exhibited is the English translation of The Scream of Nature. The agonized face in the painting has become one of the most iconic images of art, seen as symbolizing the anxiety of the human condition. Munch's work, including The Scream, would go on to have a formative influence on the Expressionist movement. So apparently, one day, Munch was just going on a walk, and it was around sunset time, and I guess he just kind of looked over and he saw that the sky was what he said to be a blood red. He recalled sensing an infinite scream passing through nature. So anyways, apparently scholars found this area that he'd seen. So the spot is at an inlet that overlooks Oslo. And they believed that they had a couple of suggestions of what this blood red sky could have been caused from. So they had a couple of different theories. Their first theory was that maybe it was caused just by like a volcanic eruption. But then their second theory was that it was his psychological response to his sister being put into a psychiatric hospital. My thoughts on the subject are An orange sky doesn't sound that crazy to me. And these scholars sound like dicks. So upon researching this, I was wondering why there were, like, if you look it up, there are several different versions of the painting. And I was like, okay, so which one's by the actual artist Edvard Munch? And turns out they all are. There are several versions that are done by him. He did 2 in paint, and then he did 2 in pastel, as well as 1 in a lithographed stone. As far as like a first painting of this series, because I don't know a whole lot of art pieces, but I know that a lot of them are very detailed, and I don't know if I will be getting to those, but I guess we shall see. But as far as an introduction to this, I think this is going to be a pretty okay introduction to it, because it's much more simple of a painting than some of the other ones, the more realistic ones. It is much more something that maybe I could do. And now I'll go ahead and start telling you about some of the thefts. Now, there was actually 2 of the paintings that were stolen. The first one happened in 1994, and it happened on February 12th. And on that day, 2 men broke into the National Gallery in Oslo, and they made off with its version of the painting. And they left a note that read, and I quote, "Thanks for the poor security." So these were some real nice fellows. And we'll come back to one of those men. So basically what happened after that, the men who stole the painting, they set a ransom for the painting for $1 million US. And whenever the gallery refused to pay it, the Norwegian police, along with the British police, they decided to set up a sting operation. And then due to that sting operation, in May of 1994, the same year that it was stolen, they were able to recover the painting, and it was undamaged. So 4 men had ended up being charged for the theft between planning and actually acting out the crime. And they had all ended up being released on appeal because apparently the sting agents had entered Norway under false identities. So they all ended up going free. So that was the first theft. And then the next one was actually in 2004. So both of them were pretty recent, all things considered. So on August 22nd, 2004, it was during the day at the Munch Museum in Oslo, and the painting was stolen whenever some masked gunmen entered, and they made off with the painting. And luckily, there was a bystander who had actually gotten a picture of them as they made off in their car. But of course, that didn't actually seem to pan out, at least not for a while. So then in April of 2005, there was a man who was arrested in connection to the theft, but the painting wasn't recovered, and it was believed that the painting had been burned to cover up the evidence. So then in June of 2005, they had 4 suspects in jail. So the government had put out a reward of 2 million Norwegian krone, which is equivalent to 313,000 US. The reward was for anyone giving information that could lead to, the finding of the painting. And there was actually another painting stolen with it. It was another work of his art. I believe it was called Madonna. I'm not really going to get into that painting too much, but that one was also stolen. So if I say paintings at this point, that's what I'm referring to. In early 2006, there were 6 men that were charged in connection to the disappearing of these paintings. 3 of them actually were sent to jail for between 4 and 8 years. And then 2 of the 3 were actually ordered to pay a compensation of 750 million kroner, which is 117 million US dollars. So then after that, the Munch Museum, which is the museum that these thieves stole this second version of the painting from, they were closed for about 10 months to update their security. So then, in August of 2006, the Norwegian police announced that the paintings had been located. They didn't give any specific details of the recovery, though. And then luckily, the damage that was done to the paintings was far less than what they would have anticipated to have been done. And pretty well all of the damage was able to be fixed. Things ended up pretty okay on that. It took a while for them to find the paintings, but they did end up finding both of the paintings. And that was the 2 times that people tried to steal the paintings. Yeah, I'm thinking this would be much better if these were the like pastel chalks, which is, I'm assuming, what they were talking about as far as pastels, because that's what this painting looks like. Or this version of the painting, anyways. So don't make fun of my painting. I'm trying. And I'm trying to educate you guys. I don't think Bob Ross would be too ashamed, but probably a little bit. Oh well. I think Edvard Munch would be proud. Probably not of the people trying to steal his paintings, but I think he'd be okay with someone trying to recreate it with a twist. Yeah, I don't know how to wiggle my eyebrows very good, so don't make fun of that neither. So I did end up coming back to this, and I did quite a bit more touching up than I had anticipated. But I'll show you all the stuff that I touched up. It's still not perfect, but I'm much more happy with how the sky looks, and I think that the sidewalk turned out. And then there's still quite a bit left to go, so it's not like I did everything off camera. But I'll go ahead and show you what I did. I put orange on where the white had been, and then I ended up adding the blue, and it actually looks okay, better than all the other times that I tried it, at least. This still isn't perfect, but I think it's about as good as I'm going to get this little like pond area to look. I lightened it up much more, put some yellow in there and some white, and then swirled in some blue and some orange to kind of give it the water pattern. I didn't do a ton over here, but I did go over it with like a fairly dry brush with like just a little bit of black paint to kind of dull that. And then kind of the same with the purple because it was standing out a little too much. So I dulled that. I made him a little bigger because whenever I did the side-by-side, he wasn't quite the right size. He was a good amount smaller. So if he's not quite the right size this time, I think I'm just going to leave it. And I don't know if I'm going to change too much more, even if it's not quite right. And then the last thing that I did was just this. I basically got most of the paint off of the brush of each of the different colors. And then I just kind of swiped it down. And then after I got all of the darker colors, I went over it with the like yellow in there to kind of tie it all together. And then I went over it with just a plain dry brush. I'm just about done with the basic painting, and then I'll put my twist on there. I don't know if you guys noticed that I made the outline for the head bigger, and I might have made it a little too big. We'll see, but that's part of my twist of this. So if you have any guesses for that, feel free to comment them. You'll get a solid pat on the back given by your own self if you get it right. And an air high five. So, yeah, I guess that's it for today. I'll go ahead and touch base with you again later. So now that you guys know some of the interesting facts about the actual painting itself, we're going to hit on some of the medias and works of art that imitate the Scream painting. So I'm going to start with a quote actually just pulled straight from Wikipedia. In the late 20th century, the Scream was imitated, parodied, and following the expiration of its copyright, outright copied, which led to it acquiring an iconic status in popular culture. One of the famous ones that maybe some people like me didn't even really put together that was actually taken from this is in Home Alone. Whenever Macaulay Culkin is putting the aftershave on his face and he puts it on his face and he screams, that is a direct pull from this, and I had never actually put that together. Another one, and I've got to read this one because I don't watch Doctor Who. So all of you Whovians or whatever the hell you're called, you'll get this one. So in Doctor Who, there is an alien antagonist named the Silence. And apparently this is just partially based on the Scream. So then another interesting one is they actually used 4 of Munch's paintings. They picked 4 of his paintings for a celebration of his 150th birthday. Yeah, I don't have what the other 3 are. Maybe I'll look them up. Maybe I won't. So also, in 2008, a Norwegian comedy duo, I guess it's Elvis? I'm going to say Elvis, because I only really have to say it once other than repeating myself to try to get it correct. But they put together a musical that depicted the 1994 theft of the painting. You want to know who one of the starring roles was played by? Any guesses? Pal Angar, which, again, pronunciations, but I don't know if I had said a specific name earlier, but that was one of the actual thieves. And if you'll recall, the thieves from that painting had ended up getting away with it because the sting operation, like the agents had entered with false identities. So one of the actual thieves of the painting was in this musical that portrayed the theft of the painting. That's nuts. So now that brings me to the with a twist part of this painting. Now, Patrick has actually already guessed, and if you think about it for 2 seconds, you can probably come up with what this is. In addition, the new movie of this franchise is also coming out. And no, even though Jurassic Park is sitting right there in the background, that is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about, well, let's get into it. For any of you who haven't already guessed, I'll slowly get into it to see if you guys can figure it out. So we've already got the shape right here that you guys can see. It's a general outline. So the mask from this series, worn by the antagonist, this horror series, is based on this painting. So this actual mask was created by, I'm going to say this wrong, Bridget? I'm going to say it's Bridget. It's probably Bridget, right? Slearton. So we're going to say Bridget Slearton of the Fun World Costume Company for the Halloween market, prior to being discovered by Marianne Madalena and Wes Craven for the film. Any guesses? I'll give you a couple more seconds and then I'm going to reveal who it is. Ghostface. So the with a twist for this is I am creating Ghostface. For those of you who didn't know, Ghostface was actually inspired by this painting. I didn't look up a whole lot about this creator, but the mask was created because of the Scream painting. And my assumption, again, I didn't look, you know, I did research on the painting, but I didn't do research on the movie. But my assumption is that they probably take the title from it too. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I thought, you know, that was kind of an interesting walk through the history of this painting, between, you know, just what it was that inspired it, to all of the different thefts, to the freaking musical that the thief was in, to, you know, just all the different works of art and, you know, pieces of media that was inspired by this painting. I just thought it was all super fascinating, and I hope you guys did too. So this is the final product. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, leave a thumbs down, subscribe if you want to, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.